Hello and welcome. My name is Alyssa, and today we are going to go through a 60-minute strength based flow. This flow will likely feel a little bit more intermediate than some of my other flows, so take a rest, take a child's pose, take a seat whenever you need. Throughout practice, I will cue blocks fairly often. If you don't have blocks, large water bottles or large textbooks, just to help bring the ground up to you, but modify wherever else you may need. Put a knee down if you need, put a blanket or pad under that knee if you need as well. We won't be on the knees too much. We will be on the wrists quite a bit. So, if you know that you struggle with the wrists, maybe using your fists instead of a flat hand, or any other way that suits you to modify. I do have multiple different playlists on my Spotify. I will be listening to one today. I will link that in the notes below in case you would like to flow to music. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. If you're listening to the playlist, you can go ahead and hit play. I like to sometimes bring my hips up a little higher than my knees as I sit in my comfortable seat. So if you'd like to sit on a block, you can. And I always begin my classes with some seated breathing. So finding a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you and your body. Palms facing down if you'd like a little bit of grounding, or palms facing up if you'd like a little bit of lightness, a little bit of lift. And either closing the eyes or having a soft gaze down at one steady point on the floor. And then finding the breath in the nose and out of the nose. Settling in. And as we settle, finding a steady foundation on the sit bones. So aiming to stack the ears, the shoulders, and the hips all in alignment. Working with your cadence, your natural rhythm of the breath in and out of the nose. As we continue to sit, if the mind starts to tiptoe or even sprint away to being anywhere but here, I'll invite you to bring the mind back to the breath with compassion, with kindness for yourself, focusing on just this breath in and just this breath out. As I mentioned before we started, this is going to be a strength-based flow. So throughout, I'm going to encourage you to find the balance between the sthira and the sukha, the steadiness and the ease, the work and the rest. Finding that sattva, that balance in the middle, where you're able to feel like you're getting and putting the work into yourself, but you're also not overworking. The steadiness and the ease in each and every posture, in each and every breath. Together, we'll take 3 deep breaths here. You can leave the hands where they are or bring the left hand to the heart, the right hand to the belly. Inhale through the nose, expand the chest, expand the rib cage, expand the belly. And as you exhale, release the air back out of the nose, completely empty out. 2 more like that. Inhale. And exhale. One more here. Inhale. And exhale. You can release the hands if you moved them, coming back to your normal cadence of breath, keeping it in and out of the nose. So we remind the body that we are safe here. We are steady here. When we begin to breathe in and out of the mouth, we send our parasympathetic nervous system away and bring us into that fight or flight in the sympathetic nervous system. So throughout class again, I'll encourage you to come back to the breath, finding it in and out of the nose to bring yourself back into a state of rest and digest, even while we're in the work. Just a couple more breaths here, and then we'll start to move. At the bottom of your next exhale, release the air completely from the bottom of the lungs. Let out all the dead air that's been in your lungs all day or overnight, depending on when you're taking this class. And then inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up overhead. Palms come to touch. Hands come down through heart center, Anjali Mudra, bowing the head in the invitation to set an intention. Maybe to find the sthira and the sukha in each asana, each posture, or something completely different. Flutter the eyes, open if you close them. Come off the block if you chose to sit up on a block or a different prop. Meeting in all fours, wrists under the shoulders, knees directly under the hips. Inhale, drop the belly down, pull the chest and heart forward. And exhale, push the ground away and round. Inhale, arch into cow. Exhale, round into cat. Inhale, arch. And exhale, round. You can stay here in this more linear cat-cow. That's a beautiful place to stay. If you want to add in anything else, like shifting your hips from side to side, again, we'll be on the wrist quite a bit. So if you want to pop the fingers to the side or pop the fingers facing the knees and start to lean side to side or back and forth to start to open up the wrists, that could be a beneficial way to warm them up. Listening to whatever your body is asking for today. That's likely different from what you needed yesterday and will likely be different from what you need tomorrow. There's no right, there's no wrong. What's right is what feels good and feels like it's best for your body today. Just a couple more cycles of breath. One more cycle wherever you are. And after your last cycle, we'll go ahead and meet back in a all fours neutral spine here, coming into a bear plank. If bear plank is too much for you, just stay in this all fours and start to brace and engage the core, pulling the belly button up towards the spine. If you want to take it a little further, tuck the toes. Hover the knees off the mat about 1 inch to maybe 1.5 inches, pushing the ground away to separate the shoulder blades. Again, even in this bear plank, pulling the belly button up towards the spine, engaging the core, engaging the glutes, engaging the arms. 2 more breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. Feeling the legs fire up as you breathe in and exhale. Now push the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Once you arrive, feel free to pedal it out. Coming to the ball of one foot, ball of the other. Again, the invitation to swish the hips from side to side if that feels good. If you're in down dog, really pushing the ground away, gripping with the pads of the fingers and the thumbs. One more breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. Coming into some downward facing dog rolls. So I'll cue you through it, but you can always watch me for the first one if you'd like. So if you're taking them, you do not have to. Lift the heels up onto the balls of the feet. Tuck the tailbone under as you roll forward into a high plank pose through every single vertebrae. And then bend the knees and push the hips up and back, a downward facing dog roll. Again, lift the heels up, tuck the tailbone under, roll forward into high plank. And then bend the knees and push the hips up and back one more time like this. Inhale, tuck the tail, roll forward into high plank. And then exhale, push it up and back, downward facing dog. I'll invite you to find some stillness in this down dog. Push the ground away. Externally rotate the shoulders so the armpits are trying to face in towards your cheeks. One more breath. And exhale. Bottom of the exhale, gently walk yourself up to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold, Uttanasana. Bend the knees as much as you need. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands come to shins or thighs. Pull the chest and heart forward. And exhale, release back down. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Urdhva Hastasana. Down through heart center. And by the sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. Your feet can stay hips width, or they can come all the way together, doing a fairly different type of sun salutation. If you've taken my sun salutation course or class, you'll see that listed on my YouTube. You'll be familiar. It's part of the awakening sun salutation variation. If this does not work for you, leave it behind, do your own version, or modify as you need. I'll cue you through. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, step back, right foot, left foot plank pose. On the balls of the feet or the knees, we're going to come halfway down into chaturanga. And then we're going to push back up into plank, a push-up. Knees come down, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra, whatever your body is ready for. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And breath out. Bottom of the exhale, gently walk yourself up to the top of the mat, meeting in Uttanasana, forward folds. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Down through heart center, and by the sides, Tadasana. That is our sun salutation or our vinyasa today. Leave it behind if it doesn't fit you. Inhale, out, around, and up. Exhale, hinge forward, forward folds. Inhale, half lifts. Exhale, forward fold, step back, left foot, right foot plank pose. On the balls of the feet or the knees, lower halfway into chaturanga. Push back up into plank. Knees come back, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Breathe in. Really pushing the ground away, and breathe out. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Bottom of the exhale, step, hop, float, walk to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, out, around, and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Down through heart center, and by the sides, Tadasana. Beautiful. 2 more times. Inhale, out, around, and up. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. This time you can step back to plank and lower into chaturanga, or float back into chaturanga, bent elbows. Inhale, push up into plank. Exhale, hips go back. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And breath out. Bottom of the exhale, step, hop, float, walk to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, out, round and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Down through heart center and by the sides, Tadasana. Last time, out, round and up. Exhale, hinge forward, forward folds. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, step or float back to plank or chaturanga. Inhale, push up into plank. Knees go down, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and take 3 breaths here. In your down dog, can you lift your hips up to where the wall meets the ceiling behind you? Lengthen out that lower back, lengthen out the hamstrings. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. You can stay here. If this is enough, stay in downward facing dog. If you want a little bit more, come down into dolphin. 1 or 2 forearms lower to the ground at a time. One forearm to the ground is easier. Both at the same time is harder. Really pushing the ground away. 2 breaths in dolphin if you're taking it. 1 more breath in. And exhale. On your next inhale, push back up into downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Step the right leg through in between the hands. If you get stuck with your foot halfway, right hand behind the right heel, help it up. Low lunge for just 1 breath as we transition. Inhale. And exhale. Get strong in your feet, come up, high lunge. Hands can go up to the sky or hands can be at heart center if that's better on the shoulders. 2 more breaths here. And exhale. 1 more breath in. And as you exhale, hands come down through heart center and then reach the arms back and hinge forward into power lunge. So you're hinging forward, both feet are still on the ground. Most of the weight is in the right foot. You're just on the ball of the left foot. And there's some space between your rib cage and your right thigh. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Step or glide into warrior 3. So on the right leg, the left leg kicks back. Hands can come to blocks. If you're using blocks, put them on the highest height. They can go back. They can go forward. Lengthen and strengthen that back leg. 2 more breaths. Pull the shoulders back. Inhale. And exhale. Step the left foot next to the right. Mountain pose, left hand heart, right hand belly. First opportunity to check in. Where is your individual personal balance between sthira and sukha, the steadiness and the ease? 2 more breaths. You can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down. 1 more breath in. And exhale. flutter the eyes, open if you close them. Inhale, circle the arms, out, around, and up. Exhale, sit the hips back, chair pose. Hands can go up or they can be at heart center if that's better on the shoulders. Instead of sticking the butt out or tucking the tail under, can we find a neutral spine in this chair pose? 2 more breaths. And exhale. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, come up to stand. Pull the left knee into the chest. Right foot is planted. Step yourself back, high lunge. Again, hands can be up. They can be at heart center. Wherever supports you best today. 2 more breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Circle the hands down, frame the front foot. Grab the blocks if you'd like to use them for a pyramid pose. So you lengthen through the front leg. You hop the back foot in enough to put the heel on the ground. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, if it's in your practice, you can fold over that right leg. You can always have a bend to this right knee. Pull both hips to the center line so the right hip isn't jutting out to the right side. 2 more breaths. One more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, half lifts. Wiggle that back foot or slide that back foot back, low lunge. Hands can be on blocks, hands can be on the floor. Wherever you are, can you pull your chest and your heart forward? We round so much in life. Can we pull the shoulders back? 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Set the blocks out of the way if you use them. Plant the hands. Either take your vinyasa or totally skip it. If you're taking it, inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees go down, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. Really push the ground away. And exhale. Again, you're more than welcome to stay here if this feels better in your body. If you want to take dolphin, you can bring the forearms down to the ground. Really pushing the ground away with the forearms so you're not sinking in the shoulders. 2 more breaths wherever you are. And exhale. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, push back up into downward facing dog as you lift the left leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Step the left foot through, help it up if you need. Low lunge, hands can be on blocks or the floor, pulling the chest and heart forward. Just 1 breath as a transition. And exhale. Get strong in your feet, come up, high lunge. 3 total breaths in high lunge. Again, pulling the hips to the center line of the body. So 1 hip is not jutting out to one side. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And as you exhale, hands come down through heart center and then reach back, power lunge. So you're hinging forward. There's space between the rib cage and the thigh. Again, pulling the hips to the center line. My left hip likes to jut out here. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Step or glide yourself forward, warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Hands on blocks, hands back, hands forward, wherever you need them to go. Dialing that right hip down to the ground. Keeping that back leg strong. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, come up to stand, mountain pose. Right foot meets the left, left hand heart, right hand belly. Either close the eyes or a soft gaze down. Can you try to lengthen the exhales by just 1 or 2 counts? So maybe we breathe in for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. And exhale. Flutter the eyes, open if you close them. Circle the arms, out around and up as you sit your hips back, chair pose. Again, hands can go up or they can be at heart center if that's better for your shoulders. 3 total breaths. Engaging the core here so we're not falling into the lower back. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Inhale, come up to stand. Pull the right knee into the chest this time. So the left foot is planted, right knee is lifted. Step yourself back, high lunge. Wiggle your foot back once you arrive if you need. 3 breaths here. Finding sthira and sukha, the steadiness and the ease, the work and the rest in this pose. 1 more breath. And exhale. Circle the hands down, frame the front foot. Grab the blocks if you're using them for your pyramid pose. Lengthen through the left leg as much as feels good to you. Hop the back foot in enough to put the heel on the ground. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, if it's in your practice, you can fold over that left leg. Again, a bend to the left knee is always welcome here. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Inhale, half lift. Slide or wiggle that back foot back low. Lunge, using the blocks under the hands or not. Really pulling the chest and the heart forward in this low lunge. 2 more breaths. Breathe in. And exhale. 1 more breath in. You're doing great. And exhale. Set the blocks out of the way if you use them. Plant the hands. Either take your vinyasa or skip it. If you're taking it, inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. On the balls of the feet or the knees, push back up into plank. Knees go down, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful work. 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And breath out. Beautiful. You can stay here as always or come down into dolphin. I promise there is a point to all of these dolphins. Really pushing the ground away. 2 breaths. Lift the hips up. Last breath in. And exhale. Push the ground away as you lift up into 3-legged dog. Right leg goes up and back. Step the right foot through in between the hands. Help it up if you need. Low lunge. Hands again can always be on blocks here if that helps you pull the chest and the heart forward. If your hands are on the floor and you're rounding the spine, the heart's going back, the shoulders are going forward, that's a beautiful sign to grab blocks and pull the chest and heart forward. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Set the blocks out of the way if you use them. Bring the right hands to the inside of the right foot. Wide leg forward fold all 10 toes. Go to face the left side of the mat. You can bring your blocks with you if you want to have your hands on blocks or the floor. Pulling the weight heavier into the balls of the feet and out of the heels. 2 more breaths in this wide leg forward fold. Relax your head at the bottom of your fold. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Flying warrior. Hands can either go up to a V or they can come to the hips if that's better on the shoulders. We've done a lot of shoulder work. 3 total breaths here. Breathe in. And exhale. 2 more. And exhale, take up your space, open up your heart. 1 more breath in. And as you exhale, warrior 2 to the top of the mat. So the right toes go forward, the left toes slightly turn in. The ears, the shoulders, and the hips work to stack in alignment as you lengthen the arms out to a T. 3 total breaths here. Two more. And exhale. Last breath in. And exhale. Now swoop the left arm down past the left leg, past the front of your body, coming into high lunge. So you rotate to the ball of the back foot. Now both hips are facing forward. 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. Can you get a little deeper? 1 more breath in. And as you exhale, hands come down through heart center, power lunge. So you reach back as you hinge forward. 3 breaths in power lunge. Can you pull the shoulders back in space? Can you pull the right hip back to the center line? 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Coming into a curtsy squat. So this left knee really tucks behind the right, and the left foot steps off the right side of the mat on the ball of the foot as you hinge forward and reach the arms back. So the knees are really squeezing together here. You're in a plank pose from the top of your head to your hips. 2 more breaths. I know this right leg may be shaking. If it is shaking, you are with me. Last breath. And exhale. Inhale, come up to stand. Mountain pose. Hands come down through heart centers. The left foot meets the right. Left hand heart, right hand belly. Close the eyes or a soft gaze down. 3 breaths. Two more breaths. And exhale. Last breath in. And exhale. Flutter the eyes, open if you close them. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Right foot plants. Left knee pulls into the chest. Kick it back, warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Hands go where you need them to go. Can you dial that left hip down? So you're trying to lift the inner pant seam up while you drop the outer pant seam down. 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Pull the shoulders back. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Hands come down to frame the front foot. Step the left foot along, step back, low lunge. You can grab your blocks if you'd like to use them. 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And exhale. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Either take your vinyasa or skip it. If you're taking it, plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank. Knees go down, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths, breathe in. And exhale. One more breath in, breathe in. And exhale. Either stay here or come down to dolphin pose if you'd like to take it. 2 breaths wherever you landed. And exhale. One more breath in. And exhale. Go ahead and push back up into down dog. Lift the left leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Step the left foot through in between the hands. Help it up if you need. Low lunge. Again, hands are always welcome to come to blocks if that feels better for you. And you're able to pull the chest and the heart forward. 2 more breaths. And exhale. One more breath in. And exhale. Set the blocks out of the way unless you want to use them for your wide leg forward fold. So both hands come to the inside of the left foot. We walk ourselves to face all 10 toes to the right side of the mat as you gently lower yourself down. Again, hands can always come to blocks or the floor. Pulling more of the weight into the balls of the feet and lightening the weight in the heels. 2 more breaths. One more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up, coming up to stand, flying warrior. Arms go where you need them to go. Again, they can go up or they can be on the hips if that's better for the shoulders. Slight tuck to the tailbone. So we're not sticking the butt out and crunching the lower back. Slight tuck to the tailbone so that if you were against a wall, the back of your head, the back of your shoulders, and your bum would all be touching that wall. One more breath. And as you exhale, warrior 2 to the top of the mat. So the left toes go forward, right toes turn slightly in, bending the left knee, right leg is straight. Shoulders relax down the back, but the arms remain strong. 2 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. One more breath in. And exhale. Right hand goes down past the right leg. Swoop it forward as you come to the ball of the back foot. High lunge to the top of the mat. 3 breaths. 2 more. Last breath in. And as you exhale, hands come down through heart center. Reach them back as you hinge forward. Power lunge. 3 breaths in power lunge. Pull both hips to the center line. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Curtsy squat, pull the right knee behind the left knee, step the right foot off the left side of the mat. Reach the hands back as you hinge the chest forward, neutral spine here. 3 breaths in curtsy squat. 2 more, pull the shoulders back. Feel how this top half of the body feels similar to warrior 3. Last breath. And exhale. Inhale, come up to stand, right foot meets the left. Hands come down through heart center, left hand heart, right hand belly, mountain pose for 3 breaths. So we can check back in with ourselves. Not with anyone else who's doing this flow with us, not checking in with me, check in with you. The sthira and the sukha, the steadiness and the ease, find that sattva, that balance in the middle. 2 more breaths. One more breath in. And exhale. Flutter the eyes, open if you close them. Inhale, circle the arms, out, around, and up. Pull the right knee into the chest. Left foot stays planted. And then hinge forward as you kick the right leg back. Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. 3 breaths here. Strong back leg. 2 more. Pull the shoulders back. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Hands come down to frame the foot. Bend the left knee as you step the right foot back. Low lunge. Wiggle it back once you get there. Hands can always go onto blocks if you'd like. 2 more breaths in low lunge. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Great job. Plant the hands. Take your vinyasa if you want, or totally skip it. If you're taking it, inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank. Knees go down, hips go back as you exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Beautiful work. Again, you can stay in downward facing dog. There is no shame in that. If you want to take dolphin, go ahead and lower the forearms down as you push the ground away. Again, looking in down dog or dolphin at your shins, your knees, maybe your thighs. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in. And exhale. If you are up for the challenge, you do not have to take this. You can lift the right leg up, 3-legged dolphin, and from here push up into 3-legged down dog. Eventually we'll all meet here in 3-legged down dog. And then step the right foot through in between the hands. Help it up if you need. Going ahead and finding a low lunge for just 2 breaths. Breathe in. And breathe out. Hands can always be on blocks. Breathe in. And breathe out. Get strong in your feet. Come up, high lunge. 3 breaths in high lunge. Trying to pull the right heel and the left toes together as you activate the right hamstrings, activate the left hip flexors. 1 more breath. And as you exhale, hands come down through heart center, hinge forward, power lunge. Again, putting more weight in the right foot, less weight in the left foot. 2 more breaths in power lunge. Pull the right hip in. It wants to jut out to the right. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Hands come down to frame the front foot. Grab the blocks if you want to use them for a pyramid. You lengthen through the right leg. You hop the back foot in enough to ground it. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, if it's in your practice, you fold forward. You do not have to fold forward. 2 more breaths here. Breathe in because I need it. And exhale. 1 more breath in. Lift out of this right knee by engaging the right quad. And exhale. Inhale, half lift, pull the chest and heart forward. Step forward, pulling the left knee into the chest. Move the blocks out of the way if you use them. Coming into eagle pose, so you have a lot of options. You can just cross the left leg in front of the right and have it hovering. You can give yourself a kickstand. So the left foot's on the ground, the right foot's on the ground. If you have the full wrap, you can take it. We're all going to take the left arm on top of the right. Give ourselves a big hug. You can stay here if this is enough. If you want more, full eagle bind if you have it. Everyone's going to lift the elbows up to the sky to open up the shoulder blades, open up the back. 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Finding a drishti, a single point of focus that's not moving in front of you. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Unbind if you took it. Meeting in mountain pose. Left hand heart, right hand belly. Catch the breath. Come back to the breath. Come back to this present moment. One more breath in. And exhale. Flutter the eyes, open if you close them. This next part, speaking of sattva, speaking of balance, this is a different kind of balance. We're going to come into a toe stand from here. However you need to lower down, you're more than welcome to do. If you're coming with me, inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Before we lift up, identify a drishti, a single point of focus in front of you that's not moving. And then lift up to the balls of the feet. And then gently start to lower by bending the knees, bringing the hips towards the heels, focusing on that drishti. Beautiful work. You can stay here in toe stand. Your arms can be up, they can be at heart center, you can have hands on blocks. This is a tough place to be. We are very, very, very ready for crow pose. We have warmed up, we have done all of the steps we need to get into crow pose. So if you want to take it, if you know crow, you have crow, go get into crow. If you're still learning crow, hop yourself back so that you can have your hands on the floor. If you want to grab a blanket for a crash pad in front of you, you can. If you're new, grab a block. Come to stand on the block. So the balls of the feet are actually on the block as if you're in a toe stand on the block with the hands on the floor. Plant the hands. The knees go as high up into the armpits as possible, and you just start to shift the weight forward. Maybe you lift one foot, maybe you lift the other, maybe you lift both feet. You're gripping with the pads of the fingers here, really pushing the ground away, and it's just a shift of weight forward into the hands. We're not jumping, we're not hopping. 2 more breaths to play. If you chose to play, you do not have to. 1 more breath. And exhale. We'll all meet back in that toe stand. Be careful of that block. If you used it, you can go ahead and move it out of the way. If you flew, that's beautiful. If you didn't fly, that's beautiful too. If you just stood there, sat there and laughed at me, you're more than welcome to do that as well. We're going to take our vinyasa, or you can meet us in down dog. So if you're taking your vinyasa, step or float back to plank or chaturanga. Push up into plank. Heels go, or hips go back to the heels. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll go ahead and take 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And exhale. Last side before we wind everything down. So if you're staying in down dog, stay there. If you're coming into dolphin, go ahead and lower into dolphin. 2 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1 more breath in. And exhale. If you want the challenge, 3-legged dolphin, left leg goes up and back. If you're in dolphin, push up into 3-leg down dog. We'll all meet in 3-legged down dog, left leg up and back. Step the left foot through in between the hands. Help it up if you need, low lunge. Again, hands can always be on blocks here. They're such a beautiful resource to use to help us to open the heart, pull the shoulders back. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And breath out. Set the blocks out of the way if you use them. Come up, high lunge. 3 breaths in high lunge. Can you pull the right heel and the left toes together isometrically so they don't actually move, but you have that sensation? 1 more breath. Exhale, hands come down through heart center. Pull the arms back as you hinge forward, power lunge. Can you get a little deeper? I have a tendency to lift up here. It's important to stay deep. 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Bring the hands down to blocks through the floor for a pyramid pose. Lengthen through the left leg. Hop the back foot in enough to ground it. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release yourself down, forward fold if it's in your practice. You do not have to fold forward over the left leg. 2 more breaths. One more breath in. And exhale. Inhale, half lift. Move the blocks out of the way as you step forward onto the left foot, pulling the right knee into the chest. Eagle wrap. So again, right leg can just cross in front of the left. You can give yourself a kickstand with the right foot on the ground. You can take the full bind if that fits. This time, right arm over top of the left, either the big hug or the full eagle bind if you have it. You do not have to have it. 3 breaths in eagle. Can we all lift the elbows up? If you have the full bind, can you pull the hands away from the face, really feeling the protraction of the shoulders? 2 more breaths. Last breath in. And exhale. Release the bind. Inhale, come up. Mountain pose. Hands come down through heart center. Left hand heart, right hand belly. Close the eyes or a soft gaze down. 3 breaths in mountain as we prepare for our journey ahead. 2 more. Can you lengthen the exhales by just 1 or 2 counts? 1 more. And exhale. Flutter the eyes, open if you close them. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Again, before we lift, find a drishti, a single point of focus in front of you that's not moving. Go ahead and lift the heels up onto the balls of the feet, and then gently, with care, start to bend the knees as you lower all the way down into a toe stand. Take as long or as little as you'd like. Once you arrive, you can stay here. Put the hands wherever you need to put them. It's going to be different in every single body. If we were all in this room together, it would be different for all of us. So you can stay here. If you want to take another crow practice, you can. I'm going to hop back a little bit on my mat. Plant the hands so the pointer fingers are going straight forward. Your hands aren't so wide that you're stretching them, but they're not all the way together either. You're gripping with the pads of the fingers and the knuckles. You lift the hips up so much so that the knees could go into the armpits. That just allows you room to slide down. If you start with the knees on the elbows, you'll slide off. And then from there, you just start to shift the weight forward. If you're going to take flight, look about a foot in front of your hands. If you look at your hands, you're likely going to roll. If you find bruises on the back of your arms, that tells me that you're not pushing the ground away hard enough. Push the ground away. Cat the spine. 2 more breaths if you're playing. One more breath. And exhale. Gently come back into toe stand if you took flights. If you flew and you played or you didn't fly and you played, or you just sat there and laughed at me, that's beautiful. That is your practice and I'm so proud of you. Last vinyasa if you would like to take it. So if you're taking it, plant the hands, step or float back to plank or chaturanga. Push up into plank. Knees go down, hips go back, child's pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful, beautiful work. Just 1 more breath here. Breathe in. And breathe out. On your next inhale, bring the right knee behind the right wrist for pigeon on the right hand side. Using any props you might need. Maybe you put a block under your right butt cheek. Maybe you put it under your chest, under your head. If this variation of pigeon doesn't work at all in your body, come to lay on the back, right ankle over the left knee, figure 4. Same pose. One is weight bearing, one is not. We haven't done too many back bends today, but if you want to stay lifted, you can, or you can release yourself all the way down onto the mat. Again, using whatever props fits you. If you're in this variation of pigeon that I am in, left hip, left knee, and left toe are dialed down to the ground. And allow yourself to settle in. Use the support from the mat. And come back to the breath. Still finding sthira and sukha in this asana, in this posture. Allowing yourself to settle, but still getting something out of the posture, out of the pose. Two more breaths here. Last breath in. And exhale. If you're on your back, you can stay. If you folded forward, gently lift yourself up, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, step back, downward facing dog, just for a moment to unravel that right leg. And then left knee comes into the nose, into the chest, and then behind the left wrist for pigeon on the other side. If you're on your back, left ankle over the right knee in a figure 4. You can stay lifted, or you can release yourself down using any props that suit you on this side. It might be different from the other side, and that's okay. Your sides don't have to always be the same. It's the beauty of this human form, of this human experience. No two things are truly completely the same. Really allowing yourself to settle. Starting to feel the heart rate come back to normal. Noticing the breath coming back to your normal cadence. Two more breaths. One more breath in. And exhale. If you're on your back, you can stay. If you folded yourself forward, gently lift yourself up. Come to sit on the left butt cheek, swing the right leg around. Plant the feet on the ground, maybe scoot an inch or so forward if you need. Gently, with care, slowly or quickly, whatever suits you, lower yourself all the way back onto the mat. The heels go to the edges of the mat. You tee the arms out. We're going to windshield wiper the legs. So gently drop the knees to the right as you leave the heels where they are. And then drop the knees to the left, the heels still in the same spot. Go back and forth at a rhythm that feels good for you. Releasing the lower back, maybe a slight massage for the hips. And once you've evened out both sides, go ahead and release the legs out in front of you. Release the arms by the sides, about half a foot to a foot away from the body, palms facing up. Coming into your variation of Shavasana. And finally, allowing your body and your mind to fully surrender into the mat, into our final pose, Shavasana. After your next exhale, release the air completely from the bottom of the lungs. Empty out. Inhale, circle the arms long overhead, fingers in one direction, toes in the other. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Roll out the wrists, roll out the ankles. Full body stretch. And as you exhale, pull the knees into the chest, wrapping yourself up in a big hug. Offering yourself compassion, acceptance, love, and grace. Things you so freely give to others and so often neglect to give to yourself. Offering you a permission slip today and every single day moving forward to give yourself these things without guilt and without shame. One more big squeeze in, hug yourself up tight, and then slowly roll over to one side and gently lift yourself up to your comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you after practice. We'll come back together for one more deep collective breath. Inhale, circle the arms out, around, and up. Palms come to touch, and then down through heart center, Anjali Mudra, bowing the head in gratitude for your body that does so much for you without you ever asking. And to this ancient practice that helps us come back home to our heart center and find presence. Seal your practice in with a breath. Thank you so much for flowing with me today. I bow to you. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful week ahead. My name is Alyssa. You can find me on Instagram at AlyssaXXTucker. I would love to connect with you. If you have questions, concerns, requests, please feel free to drop them in the comment box below or shoot me a DM. I hope, again, that you take care of yourself and have a wonderful week. Thank you.